certain people out there shouldn't be in certain roles because they're just f***ing idiots.
Alright, guys, another episode of The Flip Side back to schedule. Really excited for this episode. Yesterday, everyone came over and we did an unboxing of our first ever sponsor, which is pretty cool. We got sponsored by CHISELL. That's it. They're like these jaw widening products. And it was pretty cool. So we'll go ahead and show you that unboxing soon. But yeah, how's your week been, Krishn?
Week's been good. Lots happened across the world, etc. over the week. But yeah, long week. You got US in riots over at the moment. You got there was people protesting in Bondi Beach today. So today's the 11th of January, 2021. So there were people protesting today. I saw in the news briefly about they were protesting in Bondi over the COVID vaccine. Lots happening. So there's always interesting things happening around the world. But US, man, what's going on over there? Oh my God.
I think the US, that's pretty crazy. Like I saw the footage. It's insane. Like just a bunch of these rednecks were able to I don't know if it were rednecks, but like a bunch of people were able to break into, what was it? It's not the White House, was it?
It's the Capitol, the US Capitol. So I think it's in Washington.
Yeah, like they were able to break in, dude, insane. They carry guns and stuff. Dude, if there's a riot in America, it's bad because everyone has guns. It's gonna be bad. Cops will die and everyone would die. There'll be bloodshed everywhere. So that's one of the downsides of having all your people having guns, is that when something happens, there's going to be just so much bloodshed. Whereas in Australia, if you know that if there is a riot, our police will be able to just take down that group of rioting people with their guns. But at the same time, the bad side is if we get some dictator, we get some Kim Jong-un becoming freaking prime minister, we can't do.
It's crazy to think, isn't it? You would never think of that to happen over here. That's only something that you'd say, that's only Americans. I don't want to put it down to that just being Americans being incredibly patriotic, because everyone's patriotic in their own right, but Americans especially, they're just, I don't know, there's just something about them that they're just.
Dude, Elon Musk is now one of the, I think is he the richest, or did Jeff Bezos overtake him again?
Nah, he's confirmed the richest for now. Elon Musk, richest person in the world, which is crazy because he was third just a couple of months ago, and now he's suddenly the richest. That's a lot of wealth to accumulate in a couple of months.
It's crazy how we could literally just jump back to episode 1 and we predicted everything, Krishn. We're fortune tellers. That's it. We're fortune tellers. The episode's published, it's live. We could look back.
We said it though. We did say it. We said that Elon Musk has the potential to eventually overtake Jeff Bezos, and it was only a matter of time. We all said it was only a matter of time. We were discussing it yesterday as well. I don't know how. It doesn't make sense as to how. In terms of it, just I'm still trying to figure out as to how this guy's done it in terms of his wealth. Because Tesla, like we said, Tesla's hasn't blown up in proportion as much as everyone else think in terms of their sales in comparison to other car groups, etc. But yeah, dude, he said it again.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's this TikTok that swayed me and Krishn, but the TikTok basically says Tesla's valuation is this much, and the combination of Mercedes, BMW, Toyota, Honda, all these car brands is this much. It just doesn't make sense. Whereas the sales for these companies are all the way up here, and Tesla's doing tiny amount of sales. It just literally fundamentally doesn't make sense, and he's just really, really hyped. That's crazy. The man, we're Elon Musk fanboys. He somehow just got a bunch of fanboys. How the hell does some guy freaking do that?
It's crazy. So to articulate it a little bit better in terms of what you're saying is Tesla's market share is a lot less in comparison to that of the Toyota, etc. Right? Toyota, Volkswagen, all the Germans and all the Japanese cars and American cars, etc. The sales dwindle in comparison. They're completely outshadow Tesla's sales. And yet, well, obviously Elon Musk owns SpaceX. He's got a lot of other, God knows what's going on with him, right? But yeah, it's crazy. When you just look at it in terms of Tesla, its valuation is skyrocketed. market share is extremely low. Like it's crazy. But yeah, I'm a fanboy, bro. I like because he just doesn't care. He doesn't care. We've said it before. He just does what he wants. Nothing phases him.
Dude, I'm just thinking about like people are just investing into him. Like when they buy a part of Tesla, they're investing into Elon Musk. So recently, I heard about these celebrities that create their own cryptocurrency. Like there's like for example like the Akoin coin or the Akoin currency.
Yeah.
So like, what if like I created the Andy coin? People can invest in me, get a piece of me, get a piece of my currency, and like, or I could just basically get one of my companies to go in public and do the same thing. But Elon Musk has created this crazy thing where like, imagine if like I had like studying.com, I had say some ecom brand, I had say some software company, I had some like sort of movie studio. Let's say I just put like one of my small ecom brands, IPO it. Everyone will buy into that IPO thinking that everything else is a part of it. Because I'm pretty sure people, I saw the comments, some people actually think that when they invest in Tesla, they're investing in the SpaceX, they're investing in the satellites, they're investing in the solar panels, but they're not. They're just investing in the car company.
It's a common misconception, and that's what happens when you have a large figurehead like Elon Musk behind all these big companies that are doing big things. When you name association with Elon Musk, you immediately think Tesla, and that's what simple-minded people do. Like, all right, sweet, Tesla, let's buy Tesla, and immediately I own a chunk of Elon Musk. No, you don't. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? It's like small-minded mentality, but when you think about it, like, it's something that's traps a lot of people. It doesn't really make much sense. But going on the Akoin coin, that'll be funny. Like, I don't know how cryptocurrency works in the sense that if everyone is able to, like how would you go about making your own cryptocurrency? If you could make one, what would you call it? Because, like, the ones that are out right now, they got some sick names, like Ethereum, you got, obviously, Bitcoin, well, I don't know many others, Ripple, etc. But like, you got to think of something like that's cool, you know, like in terms of it fits. It's got to fit. Like Ethereum fits, Ripple fits.
Tesseract, the Tesseract coin. Dude, when you hear those names, I just think of freaking space and like superheroes and shit. Like exactly.
That's what it's supposed to do. Like that, in terms of its association, it's supposed to be like sort of out of this world. It's supposed to be this thing which you can't really physically acquire, and yet you've acquired it. I think that's why like these names are so like, I don't know. I really like the name Ethereum.
Facebook has like Libra, the Libra coin.
Yeah. So in terms of Facebook cryptocurrency as well, I don't know I really don't know how it works. I need to learn how it works. But the Akoin coin, that guy, bro. That guy's, I don't know.
Dude, I heard that guy just disappeared and went to like Africa to help people or something.
Yeah, like good on him for doing that, in the sense that it is obviously good of him to do it. But what's it say? He started trading on the globally. So, that's it. So he said he wanted to create the Akoin coin as a means of payment in a like he wanted to sort of create like a Wakanda in Kenya and build like a $6 billion futuristic city. That's what he wanted to do. Like that's just not gonna happen, Akoin. Like it ain't happening. I can't see. Oh wait, he's got a website.
Dude, that's crazy. Like another thing I've been hearing more and more lately is like money is like numbers on a screen. Like money is literally just a piece of paper. Like with money, you can't eat it, you can't like get happy, you can't fill your stomach. Like money is just used for barter. So like these numbers, you could transform these numbers on a screen into like getting someone to wipe your ass. You could literally pay someone $50 to wipe your ass. It's literally digits on a screen. But when you let that $50 just sit in your bank account balance, it literally does nothing for you. So as you grow older and older, you start seeing how money is like worthless, like less and less. And there's people like Elon Musk just like crazy, just spending money, just doesn't give a shit about money, because money is like freaking, it's just digits on a screen. So you really want to sort of not use all your money, but like eventually I think you start, when you come from nothing, you start valuing money. Money is everything. You work hard to earn money, and then you become really protective of money. And when you get to that state, you plateau. You get stuck in that that 6-figure phase. But like to get to the next level, you need to start like not giving about money and just start spending money. And I'm starting to get there where I'm starting to just invest in things, invest in people, be less scared to spend money. And I think another thing is like the more scared of money you are, the harder it is to earn money. Like every time I've sort of let money go, it's always come back tenfold strangely.
It depends. I feel like it's quite circumstantial in terms of everyone has their own relationship with money in terms of how they use, spend, invest, save, etc. Right? So everyone is entitled to as well as has their own mindsets and etc. with money. And it's one of those things where, yeah, when you think about it as like digits on a screen and it's there to be used, etc., and you should be using it, yeah, 100%. But I feel like some people, like for those people who are living on paycheck to paycheck, those digits on a screen mean the world to them, you know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, there's always the other side to it. But yeah, I see what you mean. It's like, I don't know, I can't see myself as a massive spender either. Like, I don't know what I'd spend my money on other than, I generally don't know what I'd spend my money on. I don't know.
I agree, because like that's why I said like from 0 to like 6 figures, money is everything. You work hard to earn money, and it's like not relatable because like people's been there. I've sort of went through that, and I know like now it's like money like has to be used. Like it's just a digit. It's wasting away in my bank account, and that's sort of the mindset you get into when you sort of start having money. But 48 Laws of Power, Krishn, last week we had a conversation about it, and you know, you were really like, you know, fuck that book. And then yesterday, going through it, you're like, I'm gonna buy it now, and you bought it.
I did buy it. I don't know what about it. Like, I feel like for me, it's something that I just want to read now. Like, I'm just like, okay, I hate this book so much, but wait, what's it about? Let me read it. Because the video that we were watching yesterday, it was fairly informative in terms of a good rundown of what the book entails, etc. But for those of you who don't know, we discussed it briefly yesterday, and I wasn't too well read on it. But this book called 48 Laws of Power, right? And it's got just 48 laws of what this author determines or deems what power is. And I like, if you read through some of them, they are completely barbaric and they are unbelievable. Like, any sane person reading would be like, what the f-? But it's easy to interpret something at face value without really digging into it and seeing what they're really meaning or the emphasis behind it or the story behind it. So when I was reading a little bit of it yesterday or watching that video, etc., and the explanation behind it, the examples that they gave were like in like the modern history era with like the French and like the English and the Spanish people, etc. All these like leaders that you'd hear of back in the day, etc. I don't know much about my modern, ancient, whatever history, but it's like the stuff that they went through, and it's like it's not really applicable today, given that the social hierarchy isn't in terms of like a king and queen and like a etc. social standing. It's more so just doing whatever. There are like certain societies which do operate in that monarchy sort of hierarchy, but the examples that I gave were quite like, yeah, modern history, but it was still interesting. Like, I think some of them was like, don't conceal your true nature to people because that just gives you a disadvantage, something like that. Or like, you know, like it's quite like, it's a little bit toxic. It's hella toxic. It's hella toxic.
Dude, have you watched Harry Potter before?
Yeah, of course.
Dude, it reminds me of Tom Riddle's book.
Yeah, except like Tom Riddle's book was like more of it was a diary, right? So it was like him just writing his own thoughts. Bro, this is just Tom Riddle's book in real life, right? This is just a real life Tom Riddle's book. Just someone that was like completely self-obsessed with something, and but like there are some laws in there which I do like. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I can see myself. I can see that as a trait of myself in terms of, it's not a toxic trait, but like we discussed it. Like there was some in, I think it was like I forget. There was like
book
two.
Is legit like how to turn into freaking a Slytherin. That's the book. How to become this savage Slytherin, become Voldemort. But yeah, your favorite laws are number 16 and 17.
Yeah, that's the 16 and 17.
And that's what got you to buy it.
Yeah, I can't believe I bought it. I literally was just saying, like, you know what?
That's a good buy. It's a good buy.
It is a good buy, but I'm keen to get it and just like because it's not one of those books that you have to like sit down and read the whole thing. You can just like read different laws or whatever. Like it's a concise version of the book. But yeah, I'm very intrigued. 48 Laws of Power, bro. 40. It's a book for We'll title it the Slytherin book. It's Tom Riddle's diary.
All right, let's quickly pause for a sponsored segment. I just want to let you guys know we got sponsored by this amazing company called CHISELL. Here's the sponsor and unboxing of the product. Yep, so I'm not gonna lie, the boxing is pretty nice, guys. It's really nice packaging, CHISELL.
The back says what it contains. It's a 2.0 light bite. Future will have high resistance. It's got a carry case as well in it and a user manual, of course. CHISELL is a revolutionary chewable exercise tool. Don't chew with a circular motion like you would with food, simply in an up and down motion. So up, down, up, down. Like you said, designed to improve your jawline. And they've got a good warranty. If it is to break, just email them and you'll get a new pair.
Yeah.
So that's good on their part. Now, if someone wants to purchase the CHISELL product, where would they go?
Go to CHISELL. They're our first sponsor. Really appreciate it. If someone else wants to sponsor the podcast, send in your product. We'll go ahead and do a review of it. We'll go ahead and sell it to you guys. And yeah, thank you for the sponsor. Straight into the episode. Dude, another thing I've been thinking about, so I watched the movie Soul. Amazing Disney movie. It's pretty crazy. It's like a deep movie where, dude, I feel like I might want to actually go ahead and revisit all the old Pixar movies because I swear like they have much deeper meanings. Because I remember when I watched Toy Story, it was just like a bunch of toys running around. I didn't understand it at all. But you watch it at an older age, it's a story about sort of this boy that's outgrowing his toys, and the toys are feeling neglected. They love him, but at the same time they want to hang out with him, but in order to love him they have to let him go. It's like a deep story. But watching Soul, I was like, holy shit, this is basically, the main concept is just really enjoying life, enjoying the warm sun rays, enjoying the nice breeze that blows by, enjoying the fact that we have shelter on our shoulder, and the fact that I have these beautiful plants and these cool fishes to stare at, and it's just enjoying life and just like, this is life. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing more. Like, every time you get to that next level, life stays the same, and you think life is going to change, but it doesn't. It just stays the same. Like, life now compared to like 2 years ago, not much has changed. It's still pretty much the same. Yes, no, I actually travel just as much. I didn't travel more than 2 years ago. Maybe when I didn't have money, like 4 years ago, I didn't travel much at all. But it's pretty much, life is pretty much the same when you sort of get to, a certain point. Yeah, but that's sort of what Soul was about.
I think a lot of the older Disney movies, especially, everyone just discounts it, or Disney and Pixar, I think, mainly those. There's a lot of meaning behind them, like in terms of, like when you're right, when you see it at a young age, you're just like, it seems cool, it's something to entertain the kids, etc. But like Toy Story especially, I think it's like the guy gets too old for his toys, and the toys feel out of place because they've lost like the one guy that cared for them, or aside from the fact that there was like a villain, etc. But it's like there's a lot of like deeper meaning behind it. I think it is important for that to be taught as well to like a lot of the children, etc. I think that's the reason why it is a Disney movie. That's why it slaps, But I haven't seen a Disney movie in ages, dude. I don't remember the last one. I watched Big Hero 6. That was a fantastic movie.
Yes.
Big Hero 6 was great. That was hella deep. That went like straight deep though, you know what I mean? Like,
I didn't watch that at an older age. I watched it when I was like a teenager, so I didn't watch it at an older age. Back then it was just cool. It was like, it looked like it was just people, like it was like robots fighting and him like running around. It was this cool Asian kid. But I think I definitely need to watch it at an older age just to really see how deep it gets.
It's like, no, just at the start it just gets hella deep because like his big brother just dies like straight away. Like that's not like, geez, bro, like that's not something you just put in a Disney movie, you know what I mean? But yeah, 100%. Like, what's your favorite Disney movie?
Soul's probably my favorite now. I like Soul. Big fan of The Incredibles. I like Cars. I like the first car movie. That's pretty good. Those are the ones that come to my mind. Toy Story, maybe one. I like the movie that girl that has a bow and she has a red hair, and there's like a talking bear. Braveheart. Something similar. It's called something like that. Yeah. What's yours?
I forget. I don't know, bro. Lion King's got to be
Lion King's good.
Lion King is something else. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like Lion King, I don't know. there were heaps, you know, there was so many, but from memory, yeah, Lion King and Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh yeah,
That was pretty decent.
that's a
People
slap.
forget that's Disney, you know. People forget it's Disney.
Dude, Star Wars is now Disney. Marvel, I think Marvel is now Disney. Holy
Is it?
yeah.
Oh,
I want to see how much did Marvel sell to Disney? $4 billion. Disney bought Marvel for $4 billion. Holy crap.
I think that's like a fair valuation at the time. I was going to say it was an undervaluation, but given that Marvel have like completed that massive first phase of their movies where they've like really rounded and tied it all up with the Avengers, Age of Ultron, and not Age of Ultron, sorry, what's the guy with the thumb? Thanos. They rounded up with that story, right? And when you round it up with that story, like they got the TV shows and everything that are going to start popping off now. So Disney is smart. They've acquired the rights to it. Now they're going to just pump out TV shows on Disney Plus, because Disney Plus is just, it's just going to slaughter. They're so smart. Disney's so smart, bro.
Dude, it's so
What's ahead.
It's so sad that Marvel is like, since COVID, they haven't released the movie. Like, it's due. A new Marvel movie should have been due a few months ago. And it's
Because the
sad.
last one was released was before, yeah, like part 2.
Exactly.
I think so, yeah.
The next one should have been, I think, what's that girl? The superhero girl, the agent, Scarlett Johansson,
Yeah.
Black Widow. I think that was supposed to be the next movie, but they held it off during COVID, and who knows when they're going to launch it. But I think seeing how well Soul did as like a online launch, they might sort of launch movies online, but like an online launch makes nowhere near as much money as like cinema.
Yeah, nowhere near. And it's crazy because Marvel makes so much money from the movies online. It's like a Marvel movie releases, no matter how bad or good it is, it's immediately a box office hit, you know what I mean? So for them, it's in their best interest to release it on the movies, because Wonder Woman, they just released a new Wonder Woman movie, and like it was released on like HBO or something, and like the cinema owners were like going crazy because like that's not fair on them and everything. And it's like, it's crazy, isn't it, that industry is impacted so hard.
Dude, I'm looking at the gross numbers. Endgame grossed 2.7 billion. And then Marvel sold the whole of Marvel for 4 billion? That doesn't make sense.
That's what I mean. It sounds like an undervalue.
Yeah.
They were severely undervalued. Like all it takes is like one huge other movie. You put a Robert Downey Jr. in a Marvel movie just as an appearance, because he said he's not going to play Iron Man again. But you put him in like a brief cameo appearance, and bang, it's going to make you money. Like people will just watch it anyway. Like people watch it again and again and again. Like they go multiple times. I've never done it before, but I know people that like watch it multiple times. It's quite crazy, eh?
Do I remember when Crazy Rich Asian came out? I think that was like the only movie that I watched twice within like the first week or two, just because it was just, I don't know, it was just like big at the time. It was just like the first, it was an Asian movie. Asians look cool, and it was a good movie. I was a big fan. I watched it twice, I think 3 times by now. That's like
I haven't seen it. Was it good? I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I highly recommend it. I think you'd like it, Krishn.
Yeah, I have to give it a watch. But yeah, I don't know. I've never been one to like watch stuff multiple times in the cinema. But
dude, another crazy thing like I only recently found out is Steve Jobs was one of the initial founders or owners of Pixar. The guy who created Apple.
Of Pixar, really?
Yeah. So what happened was Pixar was like this small animation company that was working on 3D animation. They did not even have their first movie or concept. They maybe had like a 3D animation of like Woody or something. But when they were running out of money, Steve Jobs came in, bought the company, and after they were making losses year onto year, after 3 years in, they made Toy Story and it just popped off. So like Pixar is an Apple product, and like it I could see it. Like Pixar looks like Apple.
In what sense?
Meaning like you see the Pixar like jumping lamp and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That has like an Apple vibe. Like that looks like an Apple advertisement. That looks like an Apple product. And Pixar is like the Apple of movies. So another thing you forget is Pixar is like completely its own movies. Like for example, Lion King, that's Disney. There's like a few Pirates of the Caribbean, that's Disney. Pixar have its own line of movies where you could tell that's a Pixar movie.
Yeah, so they don't. I think they just like collaborate with Disney here and there, etc. But they're just a. Yeah, I get what you mean. They're like a studio. They're a studio in themselves, and they produce movies, etc. But damn, I didn't know Steve Jobs worked for Pixar. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But it does make sense.
I
now
loved
that you think
Wall-E.
about it. Wall-E was a great movie. Wall-E was a great movie. What else? There's so many movies that used to come out.
Dude, I'm looking at this. This is crazy. Like freaking Monster Inc. Oh my god.
Yeah, Monsters Inc. was fantastic. Yeah.
Ratatouille. Finding Nemo. What? The Good Dinosaur. Cars. More Cars. Finding Dory. Yeah, there's like a Burn E. What the hell? I didn't know there was a Burn E movie. There's Wall-E. There's a movie called Burn E. What the hell? What the heck is this? Burn E. Holy crap! I didn't know this movie existed. It has pretty good rating.
I've got to check it out.
But dude, in high school, you know how in year 9 and 10 you do electives? You just pick like whatever you want to do on top of your core subjects.
Yeah.
You pick whatever you want. Now, year 9 and 10 does not, like, it doesn't count towards your year 12, your final year at all. But a lot of people would pick stuff like, you know, economics, or they'll do like IT, or they'll do like some like science to like basically, like, one, it doesn't really matter because like things change completely, the curriculum is completely different. But like their sort of theory is like, if I do it now, when I do it in year 11 and 12, I'll get a better understanding and I wouldn't have to like rush to learn. But since I knew it was literally like I blatantly remember me being in year 8 or 9 saying, year 9 and 10 doesn't really matter, I'm just going to do fun. So I just did woodwork and art. And it was the best decision ever. I had a blast during my electives. Because everyone was freaking stressing, doing like economics and like business studies, this and that. And it doesn't matter because like if I did business studies in year 11, 12, you start from scratch and it's like a new curriculum.
Yeah, you start from scratch. People, I don't know, like, I still remember, like, choosing electives. Everyone's like, oh, you know, what electives. But, like, it's like, in the Australian education system, year 9 and 10, you choose your own 2 to 3 subjects that you can just pick on top, and you essentially drop others. So, like, I stopped doing history, geography. Wait, do you still have to do history, geography in year 9 and 10? I think you do, eh?
Oh, yeah. I miss those days. I miss compulsory history. Those are the
what do you
days.
mean? I hated I didn't mind history. I hated geography.
Yeah, geography was a bit weird. I flopped in geography.
Yeah, I hated geography, and it's like, oh, bro. I remember like you get your report card. Like my geography marks were always so trash, right? So it's like get the report, and geography was always like trash marks, and it's like, bro, why would a kid be motivated to study geography, bro? Who like, oh, that shit was just the worst, the most jarring.
Marks is a way to literally just tell you how shit you are. That's it. I remember me getting my geography mark, me seeing like 46%. I was like, I'm pretty. That's it.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Pretty dumb.
Do you think report cards like work? Do you think that there should be a reform in terms of how marks are structured and provided to students, given that year 7 to 10 really don't matter at all? But I get maybe year 10, given that they need to get into the groove of it and like get in the rhythm of receiving and collecting marks, etc. But like, I don't know, in terms of a report card, I don't see the benefit of it.
On the difference between KPIs and marks?
KPIs are just easier to track in terms of your overall performance, whereas marks they don't give you that holistic view. They just give you the view based on that specific moment in time. It doesn't take into account circumstantial events, etc. You know what I mean? Like KPIs, obviously, if you don't hit them, then it's like, okay, what's going on? Then you can analyze and investigate as to what's going on, and you can maybe adjust KPIs accordingly. But marks, I feel like, are always just going to be that one, how do I say this, standardized sort of thing where it just doesn't change. It just stays the same.
How I would change it? I think this is how I'll change it, and then there'll be multiple reasons and we could dig into it. But rather than having one 60-minute, 1 hour test at the end of the 10 weeks, I prefer 5 to 6 fortnightly 10-minute exam quizzes.
100%.
That's it.
100%. You know why? Because it keeps you on top of the content, etc. And like, that's what it was at uni. Like you'd have weekly quizzes or fortnightly quizzes based on your topics, and like people would moan and be like, "Oh, I have a quiz," but like you don't realize it, but you're keeping up to date with your content. You're actually learning better. You're learning more. You learn more frequently, and it stays rooted in you as opposed to just pissing about for weeks 1 to 8, then 9 and 10 just be like, "Oh my god, I got so much," and then just cram it. Like I don't know. I feel like if you're in school and you HSC is just how well you're able to adapt to the system and cram. It's not about how smart you are, etc. But like, I don't know. That's my thoughts on it.
And it gives you a chance to like really pivot. Like if you did the first 2 weeks, you got another 8 weeks to like catch up. Whereas if you have just one exam, that's one freaking chance for your whole like career. That's that 60-minute exam determines that 10 weeks. That's like unfair. Like how can one 60-minute thing determine your whole 10 weeks worth of work? You don't even have a chance to pivot, you don't have a chance to like improve. And I think that's going to be the future, just like freaking spreading things out over a long period of time, because it'll be more standardized and it'll be more like KPIs. We're trying to hit your KPIs every single day.
If you think about it, right, like so the final ever exam that you sit, the HSC, it's a culmination of 1 years of learning material across 4 different subjects into one exam. And obviously, you know, the exam's going to have X amount of questions or X amount of marks from this topic and that topic and that topic. But like, I read somewhere like you can never be 100% fully prepared for an exam. Like there's always something that you don't really technically know. You could brush over something and be like, "Oh, that's such a minor detail, I don't think I know it," and it could come up. Yes, like not everyone's like going to be 100% prepared for an exam, as opposed to, I don't know, that's why I preferred uni a lot more, because you're forced to stay on top of it. You're forced to keep on top of the ball. I don't know. I just didn't enjoy that one exam. It was shocking.
Dude, I was thinking about it this afternoon. By the way, I'm going through a content detox. Doing pretty okay. I survived today and I napped a lot. But one of the ideas that came to my mind is, you know how everything's supply and demand? Like, what if the government was like, "Hey, primary and high school teachers, if you're a primary teacher, you get paid $100,000. If you're a high school teacher, you get paid $150,000. If you're a professor, you get paid $200,000. If they did that, through supply and demand, literally only people with like 99 ATAR would be able to get into teaching through supply and demand. And literally, if you have really good teachers, everything is going to change. Because like I was listening, like for example, when you question a teacher, like why do you like carry the number over and you jump it, they're just like, "No, it's just a rule, follow it." It's like a meme on TikTok, like girls when they graduate high school, and there's like 2 paths, nursing or teaching. And like it's like a meme. Like if you're not smart, you do teaching, which is ironic, because now you have not smart people teaching other people to not be smart.
100% agree. But like, look, as much as we both hate to categorize people on their intellect based on their ATAR marks, etc., or the final year of school's marks, it obviously doesn't determine as to how intelligent a person is. However, in saying that, you get some real duds, you get some absolute idiots that graduate with like a 78 or 68, which is like, it's like out of 99, right? So 60 out of 99, which is like shocking, right? So like,
Krishn,
for them,
you know how law is like known as like that job where you make a ton of money, but let's say in the next 20 years, a lawyer will go from making on average 150,000 all the way down to like 60,000, just because there's so many lawyers. Do you think law will still be a prestigious degree in 20 years?
It's hard to say, because the people that determine because the government essentially determines the pay of teachers, whereas lawyers, it's privatized, right? It's all private firms operating, and they study and specialize in specific aspects of each law. And there's so many laws in Australia, right? Animal law, criminal law, family law, corporate law, tax law, which goes under corporate, etc., right? But there's so many different laws, so many different specialized Asians. Not everyone's able to do it. I think that's a little bit different. I don't think it could be, but in terms of in terms of thinking about a supply and demand, yeah, I get it. But teaching is kind of like you're either primary or secondary. That's it. You only have two options. Whereas that's why law's a bit more highly regarded, because you actually have to either specialize or you're working in very broad areas. I don't think so.
Because I'd love to really I think in Vietnam, teachers were regarded as doctors. Like, it was prestigious to be a teacher. Now obviously that's faded over time, but I swear you can somehow with good marketing and propaganda and the right wages turn teachers into this professor, this psychologist, this person that understands and analyzes students, this therapist, this person that's able to really teach 30 individual students in one go. That's possible to really see, reshape how people see teachers, and I think that might be needed to really change the education space. But at the same time, who cares?
100% though, the education space needs to be reshaped massively in terms of the amount of respect that teachers deserve, because you're right, I think in the future going forward, it will be a thing where the psychological background checks on each teacher will need to be conducted before they're able to be deemed fit to teach a class of 15, 16-year-olds, a group of 15, 16-year-olds, or prepubescent teenagers. And you're right, they're not given the credit they deserve in terms of there needs to be I don't know, it needs to be subsidized in the sense that you need to be have a little bit of smarts being a teacher, because some teachers, they're really passionate about it at the level they do understand. Like you said, they understand the math laws, they understand everything. Some other teachers could just be oh yeah, don't worry about it, it's just a law. But just think about substitute teachers that just bounce to school. Those guys are duds. Those guys just teach your history class, and your history teacher's way they teach. Then they're in your music class next period, and then they're in your PE class. They don't know anything, bro. They're just shithousing their way through a living.
Stephen, in 20 years as a mechanical engineer, what do you see yourself doing, Stephen? Do you see yourself putting together robots or coding stuff? What do you see yourself doing, Stephen?
What do I see myself doing? Well, I'll probably have a job and I'll do it, but then I wouldn't consider doing it in my pastime as well. We're building robots all the time, so I'll just keep the stuff I'm doing at work, and then at home I want to spend time with family.
So what would you be doing at work? What type of things will you be doing at work?
Yeah, building robots and coding. Pitching out ideas.
Isn't that so you're doing mechanical? Wouldn't that be more robotical or software engineering if it's to do with robots, etc.? I thought mechanical is different.
Because what happens, Stephen? What if you connect the red line into the blue line in socket and you just blow up the whole machine? Or what if because I've seen you try to change the battery in my G-Shock. It's not a good sight. You're gonna have to change a lot to build robots. What's your thoughts on that, Stephen?
Well, I'll just have to keep on trying, keep on learning. Then I know I can still change.
Nice. Because I'm just trying to imagine Stephen as a white coat person building robots, and at the moment it's a bit hard to imagine.
It's a bit rough to think.
But yeah, because I've seen Stephen try to change the battery on my G-Shock, and it's not a sight you want to see. It's a bit of he blunt my. I taught him how to sharpen my sort of chopping knives, and he legit just blunted them. That's a factual case study. But hopefully Stephen can really change and start building robots. But yeah, I hope Stephen proves us wrong. But I was just thinking, so there's this kid who in maths, he got 8%. He got 8% in his maths exam. And then he sort of graduated, got a normal average ATAR. And then I don't know what he did as a trade, but maybe he did he learned a trade or something. And now I find out he's freaking a math teacher. He's teaching maths. And I'm That's really, really ironic. Like he got 8% in maths and now he's teaching math.
I think it's one of those things as well. Like some people can just find a passion for something when they're not like forced down to learn it in a particular way or like a curriculum from someone, as opposed to when they get exposure to it themselves and they're more willing to engage in it. And then who knows, he could have just turned into a math whiz out of nowhere. Because I think environment is a big thing as well in a learning environment. If you have someone that's not that motivated, etc., or like in their personal environment, whatever, it goes a long way. But yeah, it's hard for you to think because that's the one thing that you remember about them. But the stages of growth that they might have taken could have been different. You never know. They could have just turned into an overnight Einstein. You never know.
Christian, have you seen that Rick and Morty episode where they show the Citadel of Rick, and then
Yes.
they show all the Morty school?
Such a good show.
And then, you know, old Morty or grown up Morty, basically it was the Rick sitting in the Morty class.
Yeah.
And he's like this older dude. He's like, he's just like, I don't know, he's just dumb. He's just like a loser. He's just like slow. And he's just in that class with all the other Mortys. But even though he's a Rick, he's just a slow, super slow Rick. Yeah.
It's funny because he's still Rick at the end of the day in terms of what a show. That show is just the most versatile show ever though.
And thinking about that, I was just thinking, like, imagine, like, you've probably seen all the time, like, these, like, duds that somehow slip into, like, the corporate world, or slip into law, or slip into medicine, or slip into actuarial studies. You're like, what the hell, this guy's, like, the biggest dud. How is he here? But at the same time, I actually don't know. Does that happen in the corporate world, or in the 9 to 5? Can duds slip through?
Yeah, it happens everywhere. Like, there's so many people that are just stupid, but they just somehow manage to get either A, their foot in the door, or B, just an opportunity because they're lucky, right? Like, certain people out there shouldn't be in certain roles because they're just idiots. Then again, like, it's one of those things where eventually it'll come around and come to bite them. Like their luck will run out, or like they won't just be able to just seep through immediately, because when people start like asking questions or like demanding results, etc., and you're just there like, oh, what's going on? It's only so much you can bullshit your way through until you get caught out.
Yeah, that brings it back to my other hypotheses. Like, I think hopefully with technology, that teaching can then be sort of automated through technology, and having to become a teacher gets more and more difficult over time. Like, for example, you know how like laborers are no more of a thing because like now we have freaking machines that like crop for you and collect all the fruit and kill the freaking weeds and like get you some wheat and stuff, and like you have machines carrying stuff. So like manual labor is no longer a thing, and like the next lowest trade is like either teaching or like nursing, and eventually robots are going to take over that, and you're going to have to be forced to upskill yourself. So I think just through like natural selection, teachers over time are just going to have to become smarter, I reckon.
I think there'll always be a need for human interaction when it comes to teaching, but yeah, 100% you're right. I think some of the few industries that will easily be taken over by the robotic wave or the next technological wave is 100% nurses. Because think about it, like robots can just do all the stuff that nurses do, except for like take care of someone with a human touch. Like if there's a good enough robot out there, it can just inject all the medicine, it can just provide you with everything you need. Teachers as well, you're 100% correct. The next one would be like accountants. I think accountants would also, it's just punching numbers. Well, everyone thinks it's punching numbers, but there's a lot more to that. But yeah, there's a lot of professions that would need to essentially like stand up and pivot. That's why like now you've got so many different sort of roles and careers paths. You can take cybersecurity being one of them, data centers, data analytics, etc. But yeah, 100%. Like technology, it's just gonna. I mean, it's like with anything, it changes everything. Like think about jobs 15 years ago that aren't existing now. Like businesses deem them to be surplus requirements, and yeah, it happens. It happens everywhere. Natural selection. You're right.
You know, I was thinking about it. Like, you know that student that got 8% and became a math teacher.
Yeah.
Like he's like this, you know, young kid that's like, he's my age, he knows how to use the internet, he knows how to use the phone, he knows how to pirate games, he knows how to like freaking talk to younger kids, he knows how to play games. Him versus like this 60-year-old old school like freaking math teacher. who's going to do a better job at teaching? That's another thing I didn't consider.
Yeah, I mean, they'll obviously have two very different teaching styles, etc.
Exactly.
But the math, the 6-year-old might really be passionate about it and know how to the formulas and know the derivatives and derivations, but probably doesn't have the teaching ability that the young one does. And it's finding that bridge of talent.
Exactly. But yeah, I think we've sort of hit the sweet spot, Krishn.
I was going to say, good episode. We hit the sweet spot 100%.
Good solid episode. I really appreciate everyone for listening. Good episode as always. I'm glad to do this a week later. I've noticed since we caught up yesterday, we ran out of topics because we talked yesterday. So that's another thing we should not do. We shouldn't catch up a day before our podcast because then we just run out of to talk about. But yeah, solid episode.
Solid episode, guys. Thank you so much for the support. Guys, check out CHISELL. We'll leave all the links in below. Check them out. They're a great product. I have mine right here. I was using it today during work. Fantastic little product. So check them out. And yeah, thank you guys so much for listening.
Awesome stuff, guys. Peace.